No, we're deciding. Hey you guys, I'm on a boat and I'm in Venice. So I'm here with my friend Elisabetta Morelli. Ciao ciao. She had a fantastic idea, which is let's hire a taxi for an hour and let's go around and film a little bit of the canals. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to be live a little bit, but actually what I'd rather do is film some high HD quality video that I'm going to string together and show you guys later on. So
what I think is, to know Venice you need to go by boat, because Venice exists because of the water. That's why.
Yep. So I think that it's interesting because you're seeing the front doors, right? Normally
Exactly.
you can't see the front doors of all the buildings.
Because once all the palaces were going to be entered through the door overlooking the canals, not to the back side.
Yeah.
Now we use the back doors.
Yeah.
Instead, the main door has always been the one overlooking the canal, because all the Venetians were traders that were using the door overlooking the canal to receive the merchandise, which was going to be stored on the ground floor. So this is why. And here we are passing underneath the over 400 bridges we have, uniting the 118 islands of which Venice is made of.
Here, take the bank. Go ahead, grab that.
Okay.
Oh no, it's okay.
And you can see the real life, because there is a gentleman prepared on boat, getting out. I don't know sunbathing today because the weather is not so great today.
Sorry.
But you can see the laundry hanging out, so you can understand that this is a private apartment where people are living inside. And from this inner canal we are getting out into the oldest part of the lagoon, which is the northern part of the lagoon, where I'm going to point you out some very important islands. The lagoon covers an area of 550 square kilometers, and normally the most common question I'm receiving is, how deep is this canal? And there is no answer, because every canal is different. It can be 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 feet, and then it depends on the tide. The tide is changing 4 times a day, so it's constantly changing. When you can see a lot of green on the 2 side parts of the canal, it means that the water is very shallow. Now we are getting out into the northern part of the lagoon, and immediately on your right hand side you can see an island with plenty of trees. This is the Cemetery Island, the island of San Michele, which has been created by Napoleon when Napoleon came to Venice. Next to the Cemetery Island, behind the Cemetery Island, always on the left hand side, you can see the island of Murano, very famous now for the glass blowing. All the glass blowing factories are on Murano Island. Instead, if you look very carefully at the very far distance, always on the left hand side, you can see the airport, because Venice has an airport which can be joined by boat or by car. Directly by boat from where we are, following the canals, because I repeat, the canals have always different depth. So when you want to follow practically our streets, you have to pass in between 2 rows of piles that you can see also on our left hand side, which are called bricole, showing you exactly where to pass by, because the water is not deep enough outside the bricole, above all with the shallow tide. Now you're going to see another very interesting place that we already pointed you out before in the first diretta we had today, which is the backside of the hospital, with a big platform on the top for the helicopters to leave quickly from the hospital of Venice to go to the one of Padua, which is the main hospital close by, so which can be joined in a quarter of an hour. So Venice is a place, is not simply a place to be visited, but is a place where we live, and we have the normal problem that everybody can have. So we go shopping normally, we are going to show you later. We are going unfortunately to the hospital simply to have blood exam for a normal control. It doesn't need to be for a very serious trouble, but however, it can happen that we have also a car accident, and you are asking yourself, where can you have a car accident in Venice if you don't have cars? On the Lido Island where I live, we have cars. And Venetians are not very good drivers quite often, because we don't drive so much. That's why it can happen. On the Lido we have 2 streets, but unfortunately we have a lot of car accidents. And by emergency we are going to be transferred to the main hospital of Venice. You can see the emergency entrance in front of you. And I'm going to point out the ambulances in a while. Okay? Now we are leaving the northern part of the lagoon, and we are entering to another inner canal, passing close to the hospital. And I'm going to point you out a lot of transportation boats on the left hand side. together with private ones. To park a boat, we need to ask for a special permission to the city government, and we pay taxes, yearly fees to the government to park our boat. And you can see the first ambulance, the yellow boat with the orange stripes on the left-hand side. So practically, we have seen the hospital from any corner today. The facade is absolutely more beautiful than the rest of it, as you know. This is the entrance of the church where normally we have the funerals. You can see people working on my right-hand side. The transportation is going to be done by boat, like always. And they have special crane to transfer the merchandise. And again, another working boat. They are working in repairing an apartment, probably. And they have to do the scaffoldings from the boat. So you can imagine how difficult it is to move from one apartment to another one in Venice, because everything must be done by boat. And they put an elevator in front of your windows to transfer all your pieces of furniture downstairs by elevator. You have seen a gentleman putting out the laundry, even if it's not one of the most beautiful days, but it's still dry enough. We don't use the dryer so much in Venice. We put the laundry out. And now we are back to the place where we filmed before. And you are going to see the church of San Giovanni and Paolo, the main facade. And the entrance, the beautiful facade of the hospital where we pointed you out before. In a second. And I'm sorry to speak about this, but on the right and on the left we have two funeral boats. As you have seen, the cemetery is on an island, and even funerals are taking place by boat. Here we are. And I haven't spoken before about the beautiful equestrian statue representing Bartolomeo Colleoni. He was one of the generals rented by Venice to conquer the mainland, and is a beautiful masterpiece in bronze made by Verrocchio. Verrocchio was the teacher of Leonardo da Vinci. This
Beautiful day today.
It's a beautiful day. It's improving. In reality, the forecast was speaking about rain, but the day is perfect. We live on an island, so quite always, even if the weather forecast is not so good, the wind is keeping the clouds away, so quite often it's going to rain very close by, but not in Venice, because we are protected by the sea wind. Watch your head, because we are passing underneath the bridge.
So, Betta, if people were to come here to Venice and hire you as a guide, this could be something they could do with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can
This
rent-
is something we can do. We can rent a boat, we
Yeah.
can do a tour through the inner canals, and also to get out into the open part of the lagoon, in the northern part of the lagoon or the southern one.
Yeah, it's surprisingly affordable. So if you had a family to take a taxi boat like this,
Exactly.
it's a really good idea to rent the boats by an hour.
Look at the gym.
Oh, that's a gym.
There is a gym overlooking the water. So I told you, in Venice we have everything. Even if everything is taking place in a different way, but we really have everything, even the gym overlooking the water.
Yeah. Actually, you know, I've never thought about this, Betta, but this is a fantastic idea to take a. Oh, we have to go back. Ah!
We need to be careful because we are banging our heads and it's quite painful. Because now it depends on the level of the water. Now the water is quite high. There is high tide. That's why you have to consider that the same bridges with the low tide, we can stand, we can pass underneath without any trouble. But with the high tide, we have this kind of trouble. If the water is going to be very high, sometimes not any kind of boat can pass underneath the bridges. Now you're going to see a very special gondola.
Oh, that's cool.
This is a gondola with il felze. Il felze is the upper part covering the gondola. There are some tourists because there is a splendid bookshop inside here, the Acqua Alta, that you can enjoy by land, of course. And we are simply spying through the door, and there are people getting on the gondola. Once all the gondolas were covered, now gondolas are not covered any longer. So when you rent a gondola to have a gondola ride, you are going to be uncovered, so you are going to be out. The special symbol of the gondola is always the same, and is very important for Venice because it represents the Grand Canal S shape, the Doge's Hat on the top, Rialto Bridge, the 6 districts into which Venice has been divided since the 1100, and La Giudecca Island. In between the 6 bands representing the district, we have the 3 major islands, Murano, Burano, and Torcello. Now we are going backward by boat because the water is too high to pass underneath the other bridges, as I told you. And you will be able to see that our canals are like a normal street. So you have traffic lights, one way, as you can see, very well marked on the wall. So we can go along this canal only this way, but not the opposite side.
I'd just like to mention to you guys that this boat tour is being brought to you by you. So thank you guys all for your PayPal donations. Yeah, we're going to watch our heads. Thank you for all of your PayPal donations. When Betta came up with this idea, it was like, oh, that must be expensive, but thank you for all the support you've given. I'm spending the money that you've donated to bring you extra special things that we couldn't do otherwise. So thank you for your sponsorship, everybody.
Now on the left hand side we are going to pass close to a big school. I repeat, today students are not at school because is election day, so we are not, the schools are going to be used to vote. But this is a school, so we have a splendid school overlooking the inner canals that obviously they are joined, walking, crossing the bridges, because like Venetians, we like to walk a lot. We are always walking. Even if I can go by boat, by vaporetto bus, from one spot to another one, I prefer to walk. And this is a typical habit we have in Venice. We walk a lot. And normally, every time I'm going to say something like this, everybody is going to answer me, that's why you are so thin. No, this is not the truth. It's a matter of metabolism.
No, Venetian women are naturally beautiful like this. It's not fair.
But it's true that we do a lot of gym. And this is the district of the schools. We are passing close to some other schools very close by. And everywhere you can see working boat, because everything is taking place by boat in Venice. So we have plenty of working boats, boat for the transportation of any kind of merchandise. We have the garbage boat for the transportation of the garbage. We have ambulances are boat, police boats, fire boats, funeral boats, as I've already told you. So we have any kind of boat. Students are going to stroll around the lagoon by boat, like when they use the motorcycle all over the world. So they use little boats with the music very loud quite often, and they crisscross the canals of the lagoon enjoying themselves. On the right hand side we have 2 other schools, as I told you. Liceo Scientifico, the first one, they use as the main room of the school what was once the Church of Santa Giustina, and another school. But no students today, as I told you.
This is fantastic, Betta. Thank you for doing this for us.
This is a pleasure.
And just to remind, can you remind everybody where they can find you? Because this is just, you're volunteering your time and I appreciate it, so tell people where they can find you.
You can find me in the website. The name of the website is 2 in number, guides, 4 in number, Venice.
2 guides for
2
Venice.
guides for Venice.
Passiamo per l'Arsenale, facciamo via di San Pietro, che non possiamo far tanto nel giro di un'ora.
No, lo so.
Entriamo un attimo che passiamo a vedere l'Arsenale, entrando dalla strada qua, la porta nord.
Perfetto. So everybody, we're going to continue on here on our boat ride, our lovely little tour of Venice, and I'm going to film a little bit of this in HD, so we're going to go off of live for a while, but thank you all for watching live, and again, if you are interested in continuing to support my work and these crazy ideas, please do so, and please do check out Elisabetta. She is a magnificent friend who kindly agreed to come and do this today, just for you, just for fun, so please do support the work of my friends as well. So we'll be back with you more later on today. And just remember, all the Patreon supporters, 6 o'clock tonight, we're going to be having a Cicchetti drink together. That's 9 a.m. Seattle time. So thanks for joining us. We'll be back with you later on today with more from Venice. And thank you, Betta. You're amazing.
Ciao, ciao.
She's the best. Okay, talk to you guys later. Buongiorno, everybody, and welcome again to a live video event here in Venice. We're coming to you in diretta from our own boat. I'm here with my friend Elisabetta Morelli. Ciao, Betta. And another friend behind me who doesn't want to be filmed. We are exploring Venice by boat. I've rented a boat, and we've got an hour with this taxi, so they're taking us all over the place. Have a look. We've just come out from the Arsenale. We filmed some things that I can put together later and show you, but for now, we get the most splendid view of the square and of San Giorgio. I'm joined by my friend Elisabetta Morelli of Two Guides for Venice, who is the queen of tour guides here in Venice, and I'm going to pass the mic to her.
So now we are in between St. Mark's Square on the right-hand side, and we are passing very close to the island of San Giorgio Maggiore, passing behind the island of San Giorgio Maggiore, where we have a marina, as you can see, with plenty of boats docked, because these boats cannot pass underneath the bridges. So that's why we have a few marines in different spots of Venice where to park the big boats. We are circumnavigating the island of San Giorgio Maggiore, which was a Benedictine monastery since when it started to exist, and it still is, and is going to be used now for the most for private meetings and political meetings, and the only part that you can visit are the two Palladian cloisters inside the conference center and the beautiful church in front of which we are going to pass by.
So go ahead and you can talk about Lido, because this is
Yes.
in diretta now.
Now we are in diretta, and I'm going to speak about the island where I live that I love, even if you don't know where I live. Is the Lido Island, which is the one in front of us, which is a natural sandy protection in between the open sea and the lagoon. And it's called the Lido because Lido means natural sand bar, and we have more lidi protecting the lagoon from the open sea. The Lido is a special island because it's an island with cars. Is the only island that we have in Venice with cars and bicycles, and it's also possible for the ones who would like to rent a bicycle and to stroll around the Lido, which is a very slim island with the beach on one side and the lagoon on the opposite side. So it's one of the many opportunities you can have when you are going to come to Venice. In front of the Lido we have another little island, which is the island of San Servolo, which is now the Venice International University. As I told you before, we need to keep the canal, so that's why we are entering a new canal, because this briccola has a taller wooden pole, which means that this is called La Dama, the entrance into a new canal. So we are changing street.
I'm learning so much today, Betta.
I'm going to teach something to Sarah. She knows everything. She has no need to listen, but I'm telling something new. All these tiny islands were used in the past as hospitals for infected disease or mental disease. Now, the one on the left is abandoned. Instead, the one behind is a big hotel. Now we are going to pass in front of the most famous hotel we have in Venice, the Cipriani. The luxury hotel we have, where all the movie stars are normally coming during the film festival, which takes place on the Lido Island in between the end of August and the beginning of September every year. And it took place even this year with the COVID.
What?
We had the film festival until it was over on the 12th.
Wow. Okay. Surprised.
We hadn't so many movie stars coming, a few French stars, not so many American stars as we are used to. But next year they're coming back again, I'm sure. And normally they prefer to stay at the Cipriani because the Cipriani is a little bit isolated. So to join the Cipriani there is a private boat going back and forth from the Cipriani to St. Mark's, back and forth. So there is no way to enter the Cipriani if not by boat.
So is this San Giorgio or is this Giudecca?
No.
This is Giudecca.
On the right hand side we still have San Giorgio, but in front of us the Cipriani, as you can read, Hotel Cipriani is on La Giudecca Island. La Giudecca is an island made by more islands, 8 islands united by it, like a small Venice. And it's called Giudecca from the word Giudecca, judge guilty. So noble people judged guilty of light crimes were exiled onto La Giudecca Island, from which the origin of the word Giudecca, Giudecca, because the Jewish ghetto of Venice. Plenty of people are asking me if this was the Jewish ghetto of Venice. The Jewish ghetto of Venice is a completely different side of Venice, so that's not the reason why it's called Giudecca. And now we are passing close to a very unusual part of La Giudecca, because I think we are going, no, we are turning. I cannot understand because the driver is driving, so now I'm checking what he's going to do. He's turning to the right and passing in front of the Cipriani. I thought he was going to the southern part of the lagoon. But it depends on the, as I told you already, on the height of the water. That's the reason why we are passing on this side, and we are going to see also this beautiful facade of the Church of San Giorgio Maggiore. You can see the boat belonging. This is where we have the swimming pool of the Cipriani Hotel. There is a big swimming pool. We don't have so many swimming pools in Venice, but we have a couple of hotels with a swimming pool, and we can swim because we also have swimming pool for us. I'm not swimming at the Cipriani swimming pool normally, but I have my swimming pool on the Lido. There is another swimming pool on the extreme part of La Giudecca, on the opposite side of the island, where we can swim. And also another one in Sant'Alvise. In front of us we have the splendid facade of the Doge's Palace that Sarah described you last night. The splendid Gothic facade of the Doge's Palace. You can see now a big boat passing by in front of us, which is the one transporting cars from the Lido where I live to the Tronchetto where you are getting off to drive on the mainland. This is called ferry boat, is a ferry, as you can understand.
No cruise ships.
No cruise ships this year. But normally we have the cruise ships, and the dock is at the very end of the Giudecca Canal where we are going now. So the Giudecca Canal, the name derived from the name of the island, of course, La Giudecca, is the deepest canal we have in Venice, where the cruise ships are passing by to join the dock of Venice, which is just around the corner on the right. We have a splendid view of St. Mark's Square from here, of the bell tower. An ambulance running by, the yellow boat passing by for emergency. Boats are not allowed to run along the canals except ambulances in emergency, fire boat in emergency, police boat when they like, because they are the ones stopping you if you run. So they do what they want normally. Why not to run along the canals? Not to damage the foundations of the building. That's the reason why, because they are making big waves, damaging the buildings. We have speed limit everywhere. Obviously depends from canal and canal. We can run a little bit more along the Giudecca Canal. Along the Grand Canal we need to go very, very slowly, not to damage the palaces. We are passing in front of what was a church called the Spinster, the one on the left hand side, but the masterpiece of art overlooking the Giudecca Canal is the Redeemer's Church, which is the one we are going to pass in front in a while, that Sarah was trying to describe you yesterday, which is a special church, a votive church dedicated to the Redeemer, who after many prayers freed Venice from the terrible plague we had in 1576. And every year on the third Saturday in July, in reality the real holiday is on Sunday, but what we are looking forward is to celebrate the Redeemer on Saturday evening. We prepare our private boats, and a lot of boats are going to be docked all over. We are going to have dinner all together, drinking a lot of sangria. No public boats are allowed to pass by, so the traffic is going to be stopped, and we wait until when we are going to have fireworks in front of the Church of the Redeemer. So this is a special moment for the Venetians during the summer. Then we are going to show you something very special in a while, because we are going to leave the Giudecca canal and to catch inner canal, where we are going to see where they are still making the gondolas, the very special wooden boat we were pointing you out even before.
So here I am, you guys, live coming to you from Venice on our own boat today. And as I mentioned in a previous video, this is brought to you by you. So thank you for your support. I am wisely spending your contributions to rent a boat for an hour with my friend Elisabetta, so we can get a completely different view, which even those of you who've been to Venice, you've probably never seen a view quite like this. So it's really a pleasure and a joy to be joined by one of my favorite tour guides and longtime friends. So you can find her if you decide to come to Venice at Two Guides for Venice, along with her most excellent colleague, Corinne, who is also out there watching, I think. So we're going to continue on here to broadcast from the Giudecca Canal, and we'll get to see in just a minute or two the gondola workshop. So thanks again for joining us today, and I'm going to hand it back to Betta.
So you can see very well the ferry with the cars on board. And now we cannot turn because there is the ferry. As soon as the ferry is going to pass by, we are going to turn on the right hand side.
Tell me, Elisabetta, I have read in the news. I have read in the news that the canals are a lot cleaner because tourism is down. Is that true? That they're clearer?
Canals are a lot cleaner because for the full winter we hadn't boats going around the canals. So I remember during the lockdown, the water was incredibly clean and transparent. No waves, no damages. So that's why.
Something you've never seen before?
No, something that I've never seen before.
Now, there was a story in the newspaper that there was a dolphin in one of the canals. That's not true, right?
No, it's absolutely. You could see a lot of fish, but not a dolphin. We had dolphin in close to the Lido Island because there are the two openings. So it's not impossible. It happened in the past that some dolphin entered the lagoon by mistake, following the ships, following the cruise ships. It can happen. Sometimes they're asking me if we are going to see sharks along the canal. No. In fact, there was a movie with a shark, but obviously it's a fake because I never saw a shark along the canal. Now we are leaving the Giudecca Canal and catching a little canal if we are going to pass underneath the bridge, because the water is very high today, to see lo square di San Trovaso. Square means the gondola place, the place where they're still making the gondolas. So now we need to sit, because if not we cannot pass underneath the bridge.
All right, everybody, duck your heads at home.
Our driver is excellent. You see there are also waves, so it's not so easy to pass underneath. And like a mountain wooden cottage on your left hand side, you will be able to see Lo Square, where they are repairing and making gondolas. You can see plenty of gondolas that they're going to repair, because gondolas must be clean. Submarine must be given twice a year at least. And inside the little cottage on the left, they are making the bottom of the gondola. Inside there. Because there is the gondola upside down and they're making the bottom of it. They are not working now because it's the rest for lunch. If not, normally they are sitting inside the little cottage on the right, having their lunch. So you can see plenty of boats which are going to be repaired. They are changing some parts, they are repairing them, they are painting them with the submarine, and you can see how flat is the bottom of the boat. So with the possibility to go even in a very, very shallow water. And what is interesting to observe is that they are not simply repairing the gondolas, but also other boats. But above all, they are making gondolas inside. They're not making so many gondolas here. They're making, I mean, it depends on the request, of course, because a gondola is lasting according to the care of the gondolier. It can last a few years, it can last many years because they're taking care of it constantly, cleaning it, repairing it, coming to the square very often. And you can see the wood used to make the gondolas on the right-hand side, because the gondola is made by 280 different parts of 7 different kinds of wood assembled together. Even nails are made in wood. So the only metal part of the gondola are the prow decoration, the border on the top. That's it. On the opposite side instead, you can see plenty of young guys having the spritz together, saying ciao to you together.
You're live on Facebook. Say hello, everybody.
So you have seen that. She cannot speak foreign languages because she said that the only word I say in German, but we are speaking in English. So she was making a mistake. She doesn't study probably foreign languages. Even if we have a university, one of the best in Italy, where to study foreign languages in Venice, she's studying something different. There is another spot where they're having the split. As I told you, this is a very typical habit we have, and they are eating the cicchetti. It's a way to have a quick lunch that Sari is describing you better tonight.
Oh, yep, I'm good. Salute, everybody.
This group was not so happy like the other one.
I know, they're not as friendly.
Exactly, they were not so friendly.
Adesso usciamo, sono qua dove sta vicino all'Accademia, preferisco andare a San Marco verso Rialto.
Preferisci andare a San Marco o Rialto?
Siamo a metà strada.
Rialto, va bene Rialto, grazie. So now you see it's very crowded, but these are all Venetians having their own spritz, workers having the lunch, I mean, and strolling around. There are not so many tourists today, as you know, unfortunately, but just a few ones. There are more workers, more locals strolling around. Now we are getting back to the Grand Canal.
Hang on a sec, let me just add something here. This hotel here, Pensione Accademia, is a very special hotel because this is where the movie Summertime was filmed with Katharine Hepburn. So if you ever have the chance to watch that movie, it's very romantic. It'll break your heart, but that's where that was filmed. And also where apparently she fell into the canal so many times filming it that she got some fungus in her foot that never left.
Now we are back to the Grand Canal. You can see the Accademia Bridge behind us, which is so called because it has been built in front of the Academy of Fine Art, one of the most important art museums we have in Venice. And then, very slowly, we are going to join the Rialto Bridge. On the left-hand side, you are going to see Carezzonico, which is the museum of the 18th century in Venice, which is like a beautiful private palace of the past, and is possible to be visited. Instead, on the right-hand side, we have Palazzo Grassi, which belongs today to François Pinault, and is exposing inside monographic exhibit of contemporary art.
Isn't he married to Salma Hayek?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we are going to pass in front of a very important building for all the Venetians, which is the Ca' Foscari. Ca is the short word for casa, house. Foscari was the name of the owner, which is the splendid Gothic building with the flags out on my left-hand side, which is the University of Venice. So in Venice, we have this very important university where you can study foreign languages, as I told you, economics, and then there is another section of the university where to study art and architecture, which is separate from this one. You can see the traffic light with the green light. As I told you, these are our streets, and we have the same signs you have along a street. Palazzo Balbi, which is now the splendid palace belonging to the Regione Veneto, one of the political institutions we have in Venice. Then in front of us you can start to see the Rialto Bridge, the very famous bridge. You can see the bus stops on the left hand side, which are the grey pontoon with the yellow stripes, where the Vaporetto is going to stop. We have many different lines, but you are going to learn better about them when you are coming to Venice. We are going to wait for you, of course.
So everybody, I just want to thank you all for joining me with live with my friend Elisabetta Morelli. We're going to shoot a few more things that we're going to save, and we'll make something for you later on. But I just want to express my appreciation for your support of these travels. This was an unexpected thing that we're just doing impromptu. So thank you so much, Elisabetta, for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you to everybody.
She's a magnificent guide. So hopefully we will see you here in Venice sooner rather than later. So ci vediamo presto, and for Patreon supporters, I'll see you at 6 o'clock tonight. Thanks for joining us.